Hello and welcome to day 11 of the December daily. And today I am going to try and put my money where my mouth is, because at the beginning, sorry, me and my Suffolk accent, at the beginning of this December daily, I said that the projects could be anything and you can incorporate the ideas to make your December daily your own. Now today, the absolutely amazing creator, Debbie Kipp from Kipp's Corner, has put up 2 videos. Now one is a tag, or they're actually 2 tags, layered tags with acetate and beautiful images and the amazingness that Debbie does. And the other one was a vignette. And the vignette, like Debbie said, you could make it throughout as your whole December daily if you worked on it a little bit at a time. But what I thought I would do is challenge myself to make something based on Debbie's vignette that I could make in a day and use as my day 11 December daily. I've made some notes on Debbie's project. So on Debbie's project, she had Christmas trees and snowmen, and they were obviously Tim Holtz 3D pieces that she had sitting at the front. She had a shelf, and on the shelf there were various things: pictures, stars, pine cones, balls, sweets, candy canes. Then she used some of the square pieces from the kit, and she used the robin, a Santa, snowman, a nutcracker, and a few others. I think she used the fireplace, and I can't remember what else. She had snowflakes, metal snowflakes. She had jars of sweets. She had tape measure. She had that beautiful word believe in the cutouts. She had lots of snow along the bottom of the project, and she used the blue and green kind of grungy papers from the freebie. So I'm going to use my notes to make a project, and I thought I'm going to see if I can pull this off. It's obviously not going to be a vignette, and it's not going to be a Debbie Kipp masterpiece, but I'm going to see what I can do. So I'm going to leave my notes, just to the side, and there's a bit of a landslide of all. I'm going to show you some of the pieces that I've pulled out in preparation to use. So I have grabbed the blue tag because the background of Debbie's project was this blue grungy paper. I'm using the tag. I've already backed it onto a piece of cardstock, but I'm not sure that's going to be thick enough as yet. I've pulled out the little snowman piece of ephemera. I've pulled out one of the Christmas trees. Now I did keep hold of the little star, but that seems to have gone astray. I've got the little snowman square, and I've also backed that. Oh, there's my little star. There he is. I've got the Santa, which I have backed, and the robin that I have backed. I've got my number 11, and I've also pulled out the words, because obviously we can't do the believe. That's very fancy for a little tag like this. But I've got let it snow. So this was in the freebie. I've got some snowflake charms. I've got a snowflake charm here that I've actually popped onto a jump ring because I kind of had an idea of how I wanted to use those. And I have made some candy canes. And that's the thing we're going to do. First of all, I'm going to show you how I made them. They are far, far, far from perfect. They are made of a piece of scrap cardboard and some baker's twine. So they are kind of fiddly, but they're actually a lot easier than you would think. So I'm going to put my 3 aside because they're obviously dry. So the first thing that I'm going to do is grab my baker's twine, and I'm just going to untwist the end. I don't know if you could see, just untwisted the end a little bit. I'm going to grab my glue, and I'm going to glue a little bit around there. And then the messy bit, I'm going to twist it back up. I'm going to twist it and keep twisting, and hopefully that will now stay together, and we can cut off the end of that to make it look a little bit better shortly. So I want that end. So while that's drying, this I did completely freehand. So I just took a pair of scissors, and this is probably going to go terribly wrong now I'm trying to film it. I'm going to cut off, let's use this longer piece, cut off a piece of cardstock, And the first thing I'm going to do is just round the edge like that and come down to about there. So I've got a little round sticky out bit, and then I'm going to grab my scissors and cut off that little odd bit. It's easier to have something to keep hold of here for a minute. And then I'm going to do it this side actually. I'm going to cut a tiny little nick there, use my scissors, and I'm just going to, like I said, it's a little bit fizzly. I'm just going to go make a little round bit and come down. And there we have kind of candy cane shape. It's not perfect, far from perfect, but right. So this one's going to face that way. It's going to face the wrong way. So the others, as you can see, I did facing that way. So this one I'm just doing for demonstration purposes because the others are nice and dry. So I start from the little crook part and just put plenty of glue on there. Now I'm going to work on the inside of the hook because if I need to trim, it's much easier to trim that outside. So I'm going to grab the end, put that down, and I'm not going to put it right at the very end. I'm going to put it a little bit in and just work around and just glue that first bit down like that. Now I'm going to leave that a few seconds just to dry, just to kind of catch before I move this bit out of the way. And again, I'm going to glue down the inside, so if I need to trim any, I can trim the outside. It's much easier to trim the outside of that hook. And then just bring my baker's twine round, push that down. Now one thing I would say is do not start fiddling about with it too much until it is dry. I'm not even 100% sure where I'm going to put it yet. I just wanted a candy cane. And I'm going to trim. Slightly lift those last pieces of thread and put extra glue there so that doesn't untwist. Turn that over. I'm just going to trim that little piece off. Now you can see I have some little bits of card showing there, so I'm just going to very, very carefully, I would let this dry a little bit more before I start doing this, but I'm just going to trim off these odd little pieces that you can see. You got a little candy cane, and it's virtually free if you've got a roll of baker's twine. And if you haven't, you can find this kind of twine on gift tags, things like that. You might be able to salvage a little piece just big enough to make yourself a little candy cane. I think this is the one that I was most successful with, and that's the one I'm going to use. But I am going to keep these, and at some point I'm probably going to mass make some of those ready for next year, because they're virtually free. I suppose if you wanted to make this shiny, you could probably even put a little bit of glossy accents around that and just leave that to dry, and then you'll have a nice and shiny kind of sturdy candy cane, which would be quite cool, wouldn't it? Now, as for the putting together of our project, I've got some cardboard here. It was just a cardboard Amazon delivery box, which I'm sure we are all getting a few of right now. I might also want to back my tag to make it much, much more sturdy. So I'm just off camera in a minute, just cutting a nice chunk of cardboard off. Keep that piece as well. Okay, so I've got some cardboard. I want to cut a few squares of this that are going to be a little bit smaller than my my pieces. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going back to cheap. I'm not going to be using sticky pads anymore. I'm not 100% happy with how they work anyway. And at this time of year, that's just not something I can keep buying. Make a few little squares. And I love cardboard. I love using cardboard. Right, so I've got 4 squares. I know I've only got 3 pieces, but there we go. We've got some squares. Now, if I wanted to, I could back this to make this even more sturdy. I haven't quite decided yet. I'm going to start having a little think about how I can lay this out. Now, I know, I'm just trying to picture it in my head. I know Debbie has tree and a snowman on the left hand side of her vignette. On the right hand side she has a tree, but I think it might be an animal. I don't think she's got a snowman on that side. However, I'm thinking I might need to put, because I want my snowman slightly behind my tree, so I'm thinking something like that. I might need to put him up a little bit because I'm going to use the snow technique along the bottom here. Debbie's project, she had a shelf, and I believe they were pieces of the Tim Holtz shelfie stuff that you can buy. I thought about using a piece of cardboard and just cutting a little strip of cardboard so it's just got a tiny little edge. Then I found some twigs and I thought I could make a little shelf out of a twig, and that's very doable. I've got a thinner one. However, not everyone's going to have a twig. You might be able to go out and find a twig, but maybe it's not going to be a perfect kind of twig to make your shelf. So I'm not going to use that today. I am going to use good old-fashioned cheap and easy twine. So I'm going to pull off a piece and cut that. So where my string is going to go, I'll change that. I'm not going to use my knife first of all. I'm just going to put my string across, have it about there. I'm just going to grab my pencil and put a little line. Now what I'm going to do is grab my scissors and I'm going to put the tiniest of nick. Right, I'm going to actually make that a tiny little triangle nick. So just to anchor my thread. Now I'm going to wrap it round and round again. So I've got three pieces there. Now the only problem with this is it's going to make the back really bulky, but that's something unfortunately kind of going to have to live with. So I'm going to cut my string here. Right, I'm going to have to use my lovely green one, which is not really what this is for. Right, got a bit of tape, put a bit of glue and stick that down. And this piece, I'm going to do the same thing, just a bit lower down, because I want the bulk spread out a little bit. I am absolutely going to have to cover this with cardboard now, aren't I? Right. So that's the front of our tag, that's the back of our tag, and obviously it looks a little bit tatty at the moment, but we'll sort that out. Right, so now what I want to do is put these pieces into place. Okay, I don't want these pieces to have any kind of bulk, so I'm just going to glue these in place so I can then do my sewing. Actually, I think I'm going to add the snowman in, but not the tree as yet. Just make sure before I push down. So I'm going to put my snowman here. I'm going to sew around my tag. Okay, so that's actually going to hold my string in place. So we have this, and obviously it currently looks absolutely nothing at all like anything that Debbie did at all. I'm going to glue my tree, my next bit, and this is one of the little fussy cut trees out of the December Daily kit. So I hope you can kind of see what I'm saying about using things for inspiration, even if it's not something you think you can physically make. I just want you to be able to kind of get the idea, really. So what did we have? We had the robin, the snowman, the Santa. I'm a little bit not sure about the snowman, actually. I've got a snowman already. That's a little bit high up, isn't it? Okay, I think I've changed my mind about this piece, so I'm just going to back it and cut this out, but I think I'm going to switch it over for the snowman because we've already got the snowman down here. With where I could possibly put things. I don't want that too low because I need to put, I'm still got some snow to put on the bottom there. I think I'm going to have something along these lines. So it is quite busy, but I remember Debbie in her video saying she wanted it to be quite busy. So we are doing a a kind of influenced project here. So what I need to do, get rid of that, is add my snow, because I think that's going to be quite a task. I have removed the tape. It was a bit bulky, but I do need to mount my tag, and it is going to take a little while to dry. So I'm going to just trim roughly to the size that I want. I'm going to grab my Corey clips, and I'm actually going to use Fabri-Tac for this. I want it to grab really quickly, and I want it to be really sturdy. Now I'm going to get that down and straight away in with my clips. Okay, now you're going to think this is a little bit mad, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start trimming around the bottom of my tag, so I'm not going to be held up very much. I want to make sure this area around the string is really firm, so that's why I'm not as yet cutting up there. I've got my snowflakes, got a piece of cardstock, right, plenty of glue. On with my snow. Right, I'm going to push it down. Okay, so now we can just shake off the extra, and I'm just going to push that down to make sure we haven't got any random sticky out bits that we don't want. Okay, put that aside and just get this back in. So I'm trusting this is now pretty firm. I'm just going to take my clips off. I'm just going to trim the rest of my cardboard off around my tag. So I glued it to the wrong side, so I'm just very quickly going to back this on some black cardstock. So that's now backed. Nice and simple. So I've got two of my pieces of card, and I'm going to put one on the back of the soldier or the nutcracker and one on the back of the Santa. I'm just going back to my art glitter glue now. This is plenty strong enough for this job. Okay, so give those a minute to dry. And now what I'm going to do is grab, I'm actually going to start a new one. I'm going to use this one. It might be a little bit fiddly, but we do need to do this before. If I'd have known where I wanted it, I could have done this before I put the stitching on. I'm going to go under two of my pieces and just attach this jump ring. Okay, so you've got my little snowflake dangling there, quite like that. Now he is going to go here. I'm going to glue him into place. I'm going to make sure I'm not covering up too much of that stitching on the left hand side, sorry. I'm going to add this snowflake kind of like that. Yeah, I think my art glitter glue will be okay for this. It's pretty good glue, so just very carefully slot that under that extra piece, because obviously that's dimensional, so we can put that slightly underneath so it looks like the snowflake is kind of peering out. I need to ink my number 11 because I haven't done that yet. Put him on the shelf as well. Well, obviously it's not a shelf, it's a kind of shelf. Just going to put that. Yeah, I think I'm going to add Santa first. I still want to give him a little bit of more inking. I think I'm going to add Santa first. Can I move that over maybe a little bit? Let's put him there. Right. I'm just going to roughly put those in place because I want to make sure I'm putting my candy cane somewhere it's not going to interfere with those words. Of course, I haven't inked my little tiny Let It Snow, and I'm desperately hoping I don't get glue over these when I put them down. I do tend to get glue on every single word I ever use. I've got my tiny little star. I'm actually going to try and put him back on the Christmas tree. I might try something else in a minute, but for now, that's what I have. I'm going to put down Let It. Wow, this is a very busy tag. Okay, I think Debbie did say she wanted it quite busy, so I think I'm going to add a bell, and it's probably not the best time to do this because I have added so many other things already, but I'm going to go for it. Yes, I definitely think we've got busy, going on here. Now I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit of glue around the centre of that snowflake and my marvellous new tweezers, which I hope I'm not going to get gluey. I'll use my old tweezers for gluey work and my new tweezers for, oh, that's pretty good stick on the back of this gem actually. Right, I'm going to have to try and then hold that into place with my lovely new tweezers. So thank you, Vicky, I do love them. Now where else could we pop a little sparkly bit? I think we should have one right here next to snow. Okay, so I think I'm done. I think this is my Debbie Kipp vignette inspired day 11 tag. I think that's busy enough, and I think I'm a little bit in love with it. So what I'm trying to say is don't be intimidated if you think a project is out of your reach or you're not able to do it. Write down what bits and pieces you like about the project and then see what you can come up with on a smaller scale. And I really hope you like it. I still feel like I want to add a bit more, but probably won't. I think that's, we've got a lot of the elements, haven't we? Right, so we've got the Christmas tree, we've got the snowman. They're not 3D, but we've got it. We've got a kind of shelf-ish. We've got a star, teeny weeny one. Haven't got the pine cones. We've got bells instead of balls. Haven't got the sweets. Got the candy cane, but we've got a bit of bling instead of those sweets as well. We've got 2 of the squares. We've got the snowflakes. Haven't got the tape measure, but I've got the blue background. So I haven't got Believe, but I've got Let It Snow. So I think I did an all right job. I'm actually really, really pleased with that tag. I really do. I love it. And it is inspired by the wonderful Debbie Kipp's vignette. So thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.